We finally made it, folks. We're at the last companion of the Hall build. In the previous videos, I did some disclaimer about how BG3 and D&D stats don't exactly mesh up. Probably heard it a million times by now. If you haven't, check out the other videos. We're going to dive right in this time. Now, we know that Regis was a halfling, and we're going to go sub-race Lightfoot halfling. These are the halflings that focus on stealth, which is what we want for his build. This is going to be a multi-class build, but we're going to start with Bard. Now, for any of the magic that we have in this build, we're going to keep it mostly functional. So for cantrips, we're going to start with Light and Mage Hand. Starting spells are going to be Healing Word, Disguise Self, Featherfall, and Long Strider. Starting instrument is dealer's choice. Whatever you want here, there's no real history of Regis playing a particular instrument, so pick whatever you want. For background, we're going to go with Urchin. This is going to open up the sleight of hand and stealth skills for us. Ability points are going to be 10 in strength, 16 in dexterity with that +1 modifier, 14 in constitution, 10 in intelligence, 8 in wisdom, and 16 in charisma with the +2 modifier. Because we are doing a multi-class build here, we need high dex and high charisma. And then for skill proficiencies, we're going to change a few things here. You'll see we have the sleight of hand and the stealth from the background, but instead of performance and persuasion, we want perception and investigation. We'll keep deception. Now we're going to move on to appearance. We know Regis was a male halfling, so we change it to body type 2. Keep identity as male. Voice choice is up to you, but I thought voice 5 sounded kind of appropriate, so that's what I'm going to go with. We're going to keep the default head 5 here because we know that Regis was a bit on the stocky side. As far as skin tone goes, I'm going to go with neutral tone 2. It gives him a little bit of color, but also keeps him on the pale side, which is in alignment with the illustrations. Skip over to eyes. Really hard to tell from the artwork what shade his eyes are. They look to be some sort of brown, so we're going to keep it at the defaulted brown 1. Skip on over to hair. We know from the description that he had curly hair. Bramble thicket seems to do the best that we can without the curls going really crazy. As far as color goes, we know that he had brown hair. I'm going to go with the dark one, which is brown 5. But then I'm going to go into the highlights and add in some brown 3, just about 30%. So that we get a little bit more life and color in there. No facial hair on this character, so we are good to go into our build now. For the build, we're going to be using the Hireling, who happens to be a Lightfoot halfling, but does have a different background, so keep that in mind when we're looking at skills. For Bard level 2, the only thing we have to do is choose a new spell. Here I would say, keeping with functionality, either grabbing Fairy Fire or Speak with Animals. I'd say either one is okay here. They're both useful. I would go with Speak with Animals if you're not going to have another party with that ability, just for convenience sake. On to Bard level 3, and it's time to choose the subclass. We are going to be going with College of Lore, which you can see is selected there. You also have to choose another spell. In this case, we are going to be choosing level 2 invisibility. And in addition, on level 3, you also have to go in and select some skills. You see here skills with proficiency. So we have 3 slots to choose from here. We also have 2 skills with expertise slots to choose from. For expertise, we're going to go with investigation and deception. And for skill proficiencies, we're going to go with history, insight, and animal handling. On to level 4, there's a couple things we need to do here. One is choosing another cantrip. We're getting to the point in cantrips where the options are pretty limited here. And dancing lights, we don't need that. We already have regular light. Minor illusion is only so helpful. So we're actually going to go with vicious mockery here. Now it is a damage dealing spell, but it fits well with Regis's character. So we're making an exception. And then we need to choose another spell. We're going to go with another functional one. We're going to go with knock. And then it's time to choose our first feat. Now, the first feat that you're going to choose for this build is really dealer's choice at this point, but I am personally going to go with mobile. I think that works well for the build. Now, at this point in the build, we are going to multi-class over into rogue. And we're going to go into the skill proficiencies here, and you'll see it doubled up on a few areas. So we're going to change this up. I don't need that much in acrobatics. He really wasn't that acrobatic of a character. So take it out of acrobatics and put it into perception. and this one will stay in persuasion. Level 2 rogue, there's no choices to make here. We're just getting our cunning actions at this point. At level 3, it's time to choose a subclass. We are going to go with the thief subclass. Works well with the build. Second story will work. Fast hands, an additional bonus action, and Regis was indeed a thief. For level 4, it is time to choose another feat, and we are going to go with dual wielder. Now, the reason we're going to go with the dual wielding feat is because we want this character to use a light weapon and a heavy weapon. There are 2 weapons that Regis gets throughout his lore that I think makes sense to have him use together in this build. One of them would be the dagger that he stole from Artemis and Treri, and the other would be the mace that Brunner makes for him. And I'll go over that in the bonus section. Now, the next couple levels of rogue, there are no choices to make. Level 5, 6, and 7, it's just unlocking other features. Now, at the final level of rogue, level 8, it is time to choose our final feat. For this one, we're going to go with ability improvement, and we're going to put an extra 2 under dexterity. Regis stole a magical ruby from Pasha, and that ruby gave the ability to charm. Now, there is an item in BG3, a necklace, that allows you to use the spell Charm, but it doesn't become available to you until Act 3 in the House of Healing. So, if you wanted to get access to this earlier, you could use the Illithid spell Charm. It would require you to consume several tadpoles to get access to it, though. Going back to what I was saying earlier about making Regis a dual wielder, he stole a vampiric dagger from Artemis and Treri. And although there's nothing quite like it in BG3, I'd say the closest thing you could use is the Arcane Absorption Dagger. It doesn't consume life like in Treri's dagger did, but it does absorb magic. So along the same lines. As far as the mace goes, the mace that Brunner made Regis is not actually magical. Since I wasn't able to find any information really on that mace, I would just recommend using the Blood of Lathander because it really is the best mace available in the game, and you get it early on. So that's it, folks. That is the Regis build, and with it, the final companion of the Hall build is done. Next up will be a compressed version of the builds where I take out all of the appearance and basics and the bonus information and just push it all together into one long video so that if you want to review just the build portions as you're making your own characters, it is more convenient for you. So keep an eye out for that. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do so. We're very close to 500. Thanks for watching.